Scene Mom says, welcome to the podcast from former Phoenix radio host Danny Cutler. Each week bringing you independent music, industry news, the occasional interview, and other fun segments. Let's get to it. Scene Mom says hello and welcome to episode 97. I'm Danny, your host and Scene Mom, and as always, so glad you joined me. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has had a good week. I'm happy to report that New England survived last week's heat wave, and we were rewarded by cooler temperatures and rain. I still fight with my Phoenix friends about this all the time. Yes, the humidity is stifling, but it always passes after a few days and gets right back to the 70s and 80s. Ha! It would be a different story, though. If it were 3, 4, 5 months of it straight, definitely be a different story. So, other than weather wars, it's been pretty quiet this past week. I guess that's good. I've been working on updating my website, and it was nice to have a little extra time with the Independence Day weekend. I did see some friends who were in town. Jack Mangan and his family were here in Massachusetts. If you remember, Jack is the force behind Support Life in Music, or SLAM. I had him on the show about a year ago when he was launching. It was great to see him, and I'm also honored to say that I was given one of the first SLAM awards for supporting musician mental health. I've been thinking on how exactly I support musician mental health when I really don't do anything specific. I do have some thoughts, but you're going to have to wait until you hear my acceptance speech at the online awards ceremony, which is happening in August. I will keep you posted on the date and time when I have it. Okay, back to the show. As always, I have your music news, history, a marketing tip, and some really great indie tracks for you. So let's get back to the music with a tune off the recent release from Massachusetts, The Maladaptive. In June, they released their album Dissimulate, and the entire album is a great listen, like start to finish. Remember when people used to listen to albums that way? This is the opening track called Waiting on the World, and you're listening to what Scene Mom says.
Waiting on the world to change. Feel like everything's so fake. Think I finally went in. Visions where I off myself. Everyone says they're here to help. Even grocery
Again, that was the Maladaptive with Waiting on the World. C-Mom says it is time for some music news. The Live Nation antitrust saga just got a whole lot more interesting, and it even got a little more political. Legal documents disclosed this week confirmed that Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino personally met with Trump in February 2026, and that the status of the DOJ's lawsuit against Live Nation came up in that conversation. The disclosure came as part of the required procedures under the Antitrust Procedures and Penalties Act. Now, here's a quick timeline. Live Nation began pushing for a settlement as far back as February 2025. By September, formal settlement discussions were underway with the DOJ's antitrust division. Then in March 2026, just days into the actual trial, the DOJ abruptly settled, catching not only the plaintiff states and the judge off guard, but apparently even Live Nation's own attorneys who were actively arguing the case. The settlement drew sharp criticism from lawmakers, and more than 30 states plus Washington, D.C. decided that they were not having it. They continued the trial on their own, and they won. The states prevailed, and a court decision on what remedies are needed, potentially including the breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster, is still forthcoming. Now, Rapino calls the DOJ settlement a major step forward for artists and fans. The states who kept fighting clearly disagreed, and the full story of how all this went down and is going down is still being written. Because on that note, Live Nation has now filed a motion asking a federal judge to throw out the jury verdict entirely and grant a new trial. The argument is that the evidence against them was weak and that the court admitted prejudicial evidence that swayed the jury improperly, and that the jury instructions misstated antitrust law. Basically, they want to just toss the whole thing and try again. I'll just say what I'm thinking out loud when I was reading this. This is exactly what a company with an enormous legal budget does. You lose a trial, so you file to invalidate the verdict, or you keep appealing. And then you keep appealing and appeal. The goal isn't to win, it's to keep it all tied up in court long enough that nothing actually changes. Live Nation and Ticketmaster have been doing this since the original DOJ lawsuit back in 2024, and the merger they're defending happened all the way back in 2010. So what actually happens to the Live Nation Ticketmaster monopoly, whether they get broken up or they face real structural changes, it's still completely up in the air. And with motions like this one, it could stay that way for a very, very long time. All right, in other news, the music industry's pushback against AI is still growing, louder and more organized. And this time it's coming from 29 artists, songwriters, and manager organizations all at once. In an open letter that was published this week, a coalition that includes the Music Artists Coalition, Songwriters of North America, the Featured Artists Coalition, the UK's Ivors Academy, and 25 other organizations around the world are demanding what they are calling a no consent, no deal approach to all AI licensing agreements. This is the message: you do not get to use our work for AI without explicitly asking us first. Seems pretty straightforward. The letter calls out a practice that has apparently become alarmingly common: major labels and publishers sending letters to artists informing them that they will be automatically opted in to AI-related uses of their music by default, with little or no actual choice in the matter. And for artists signing new deals, AI rights clauses are increasingly being slipped in as a standard condition of signing. You take it or leave it. The organizations are demanding 4 key things: explicit consent before any AI use of an artist's rights, full transparency about what those AI deals actually cover, no burying of terms in vague catch-all contract language, and fair compensation when artists do choose to participate, including a clear breakdown of what percentage of revenue goes to the creator versus the label versus the AI company. Now, this follows the AFM's lawsuit against Universal and Warner that we covered earlier this season, which focused specifically on compensation. This open letter broadens that fight. It's not about getting paid, it's just about being asked in the first place. And finally, if you ever wondered whether podcasting is still worth your time and attention as a marketing tool, Edison Research just answered the question with a very big number. Total podcast consumption time in the United States has grown 386% since 2016. Americans now spend 812 million hours per week listening to podcasts. up from 167 hours a decade ago and up another 39 million hours just since last year. It's not a niche medium anymore. It's a massive, engaged, and growing audience that are showing up every single week to listen. So what does this mean for independent artists specifically? It means a lot, actually, because podcasts offer indie artists several ways to get in front of listeners that most people are not taking full advantage of. The most obvious one is background music. Podcast hosts need music, intros, outros, transitions, beds, and independent artists who register their music with the right licensing platforms can earn royalties every time a podcaster uses their tracks. Passive income, but it puts your music in front of highly engaged listeners who just might go and look for you later. There's also sponsorships. As a podcast audience grows, so does its ability to bring in sponsors. And indie artists releasing albums, merch, or tours can approach music-adjacent podcasts about sponsorship deals or even simple shout-out arrangements. A good mention by a trusted host to a loyal audience is worth more than almost any algorithm-driven ad placement. And don't forget about being a guest, too. Music podcasts, local interest shows, arts and culture programs, they're all looking for interesting guests with a story to tell. And your story, as an independent artist, is exactly that. It's a lot of years, 812 million hours, and it's a lot of opportunity. And the question is, how are you going to show up in that space? So that is your music news this week, and if you have any feedback or other thoughts or any music news you would like to share, you can email me, scenemomsays@gmail.com.
Ringing out PAs like every goddamn day. I think I gotta slow down. Try not to think I never spent, but time showed me how. So look at it, my brother. Yeah, we lost our mother. I don't recognize it now. Starting to discover how to drink away from trouble. This will be my eyes are out. This is as far as I get. Before I do something I'll regret. Yes, I lost many friends. Untimely hands, cause they're never sitting told. Yes, they all saw their shame till they don't want to have it out of drink alone. Mothers and fathers and brothers and daughters who love them alone. Try not to go too far down the bottle when we drink with their ghosts. But they're supposed to act before we could hold them again. This is as far as I can. Before I do something I'll regret. Something I'll regret.
That was Tasteless Jack from Worcester, Mass. with As Far As I Get, which will be on his upcoming album. The details are TBA. I will have a link to their music as well as all the links to the music heard on the show in the show notes. C-Mom says it is time for some music history. On July 6th in 1957, a day that will live in infamy, John Lennon meets Paul McCartney. At a church function in Liverpool, Paul McCartney was introduced to John Lennon after seeing his band The Quarrymen perform. Their meeting sparked one of the most successful songwriting partnerships in music history. On July 7th in 2009, millions around the world watched the public memorial for Michael Jackson at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, featuring performances and tributes from family and fellow artists. On July 8th in 1969, the Beatles photographed their final album cover. The iconic Abbey Road crosswalk photo was taken outside EMI Studios in London And it has become one of the most recognizable album covers ever created. And so many different things have been made with that cover, and everyone just knows what it is. On July 9th, in 1962, Bob Dylan released his breakthrough single, Blowin' in the Wind. Around this time, Dylan's protest music was gaining momentum, helping define the folk revival and influencing generations of songwriters. And on July 12th in 1979, a promotion at Chicago's Comiskey Park turned into a riot after thousands of disco records were blown up on the field, symbolizing a backlash against disco music. People are so passionate about their music, it's ridiculous. That is some music history for you this week.
Wrote you this letter, I hope it finds you well. I guess I wanted to tell you that lately it's all going to hell. So maybe it's time for me to move on. Leave Boston skies for LA sun. Wish I'd taken the time to listen. I wish I hadn't tried so hard to fix what's never been broken. I wish I'd known back then what to do when you desperately tried to get through. So maybe it's time for me to move on. Leave Boston skies for LA sun. New England fall. I miss the most. Look on your face when the leaves turn to gold. Opening day down in Fenway, the smell of fresh cut grass we've come to love. Summer drives down in Buzzards Bay, season of the witch in downtown Salem. So maybe it's time for me to move on. Leave Boston skies for LA sun. New England fall. I missed the most. Look on your face when the leaves turn to gold. Oh, when the leaves turn to gold.
The show is turning into a Central Massachusetts themed show. That was John Gerard with New England. He just released his new album called Threads. I could listen to John sing for hours on end, and I'm so lucky I get to. He has played a couple of times now at our historical museum / house. I curate the music for their porch night open houses, which are happening every Thursday here this summer. I've also had Tasteless Jack there and the next artist who is coming up shortly. C-Mom says it is time for your marketing promo tip of the week. Remember that low engagement doesn't mean your posts are not seen. If you're only posting because you want to go viral or you are frustrated that there are just a couple of likes on your posts, stop it. You're fine. Meta has never cared about engagement rates. They have always been less than 5%. And I still think that number is too high. And it doesn't matter what your business happens to be. It takes a lot to get someone to like a post, even more to comment, and you nearly have to promise a kidney to get them to share it. That being said, your posts are still being seen. Plenty are watching in the background, whether they engage with the post or not. And when they need you or they're looking for the thing that you offer, they're going to remember. When you have a strategy for posting and you understand what different formats do, meaning the days, times, graphics, reel, carousel, etc., you will be seen. I am always here to help you figure out that best way to balance your marketing and your social content for your business, your band, your brand. Get in touch. You know I'd love to help you. You can schedule a consultation at dannycutler.com, and I also have a twice monthly-ish newsletter for even more information. And there's also the private Facebook group. And yes, I will have all the links in the show notes, but it's also easy enough to remember dannycutler.com. You'll find everything there as well.
Ticking away, our moments giving time. The past is written, a future's yours to find. To trust in someone feels so unknown. I know it's hard, and you're not alone. Fall into my arms, share with me your pain. I see so many fears. If you lose sight of hope, you aren't seeing clear. To carry on, to find your track. The moments gone are not coming back. Fall into my arms, share with me your pain. Life falls down, but you pick it up. You hold so tight and still it drops. Life's little games, amused our heads, no consequence, and we lived our days. We'll look at the stars and see it's no longer fun. The game's over, the reality won. Say it's a painting from a god, say it's a weird coincidence. so tired, and still eardrops, and we'll pick it up.
That was another Massachusetts artist, Mosby, with an older track called Perspective. He does have some new music on the way soon. And that is it for episode 97. Links to all the music and news you heard this week will be in the show notes. If you have any feedback, you can always get in touch on social media. It's scenemomsays on Facebook and dcutleraz everywhere else. And you can also email scenemomsays@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, please share. It does help support these artists, and it helps me too. Thanks as always for listening, and you'll hear me again soon. You've been listening to the Scene Mom Says podcast. Intro, outro music is Look Good for the Radio by Fairy Bones. Learn more about Danny and the show at dannycutler.com.